Getting stuck is easy. Getting unstuck is not so easy, unless you know how. Whether it's personally or professionally, the steps to change are exactly the same. There's a clear-cut formula to living the life you want and deserve. Are you ready to make a change? It's easier than you think. Go to thehabitformulabook.com and get yourself a free copy. Remember, you don't even have to read it. Just do the exercises at the end of each chapter. If you want me to hold your hand, upgrade your order to the premium course. These principles are the same steps I took to work 25% less and make 30% more. If you seriously want to change something in your life, thehabitformulabook.com will show you how. And get yourself a free copy! Or upgrade to the premium course for even better and faster results. And get unstuck today. thehabitformulabook.com.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's lunchtime with the Habit Master. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, and I help people get better and faster results than they ever thought was possible by tweaking their daily routines, aka their habits. When you do this, you usually get different results than what you were doing before. So today is Wednesday, and usually we focus on business habits, different things with if you're an executive level, if you're in sales, we kind of go over things so that, hey, maybe you can tweak something different and get a better result, especially this time of year, so you can knock out the end of the year, end of the quarter with a shebang, right? So a lot of people are going back to school, right? My kid just started today. He was all excited, big third grader, and it kind of got me to think, hey, I need myself as a business owner to buckle down and really start focusing in on what I want to accomplish by the end of the year, right? So last week, we started talking about the 3 pillars of success, right? You've got mindset, which a lot of my stuff is covering. And the reason why I cover a lot of it is 2/3 of success is mental, and the other third is actual physical, action-oriented, right? More mechanical. So I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, we need to start buckling down, right? And last week we started doing the second pillar. So you have mindset, you've got plan, and you also have action, right? So that gives you the results that you want. So I was thinking to myself, okay, last week I made a plan, and I hope you guys did too. If you missed last week's episode, go on YouTube and find last week's episode. I think it's called Plan. Maybe Plan Last Quarter or something. I can't remember what I named it, but it's basically helping you to figure out what steps you want to accomplish. So it's kind of like a little roadmap, a little path for you to start thinking about what you want to do for this end of the year, right? The end of the year is not over. We still have September, October, November, and even December. So we have 4 more months of 2019. There's no reason to coast into 2020, right? This is the time when we should start ramping things up. Summertime's over. Most of the time, if we are a business owner, a lot of our employees have already taken a lot of their summer vacations. And it's time, kids are back to school, so it's time to buckle down. Well, now's the time to really ramp up your action. The planning stage is over. You know exactly what you want to accomplish. There's still time to accomplish the goals. You can make 2019 the best year ever, but you really have to buckle down. You really have to maybe overdo your goals, maybe stuff that you've never done before, because even if you don't hit them 100%, at least you're going to be further ahead than if you didn't set them too high, right? Being unrealistic is okay to be, okay? As long as they're not so far away that it discourages your employees from actually trying to motivate them to hit those goals, okay? So before we get started any further, I want to congratulate the following people for grabbing their free copy of my book, The Habit Formula. And also, all of them upgraded their copy to an actual course. And they wanted to do that because they saw the value into having someone help them, right? A mentor, which is one of the steps in the habit formula. You need somebody to guide you. And they wanted to take a deeper dive in this material so they can actually get the results that they want and hit their goals faster and even easier than ever before. So I want to congratulate Jamie Clements, Vicky Schaefer, Diana Olson, and my good old guy friend Jim Miller. So these all of these guys picked up their copy of the book. If you guys want to pick up your free copy, it's not going to be free forever. I wanted to kind of start kicking off my material with giving everybody a free book just to get my material out there. But at some point, this free offer is going to go away. And the more people that subscribe to it, my list is growing, and we're going to have to quit the freebie stuff and actually start giving it to you for what I think it's worth, and also the programs too. So if you want to dive deeper, we've got introductory offers now. So you get the free book, but you also get either the premium course or the audiobook version, which is the mini course and the workbook, for a very, very stupidly cheap price. So I encourage you, because that introductory price is going bye-bye. So I encourage you to sign up today. Grab the low-cost / free copies as soon as you can, okay? Go today. Go right now. Go to thehabitformulabook.com, thehabitformulabook.com, and let's get busy, okay? So today is obviously business habits, and we're going to dive into something that can totally stifle any great goals or ambition or intention that you might have, especially as a business owner, and that is roadblocks. We're going to start talking about that today. There are mental roadblocks, and there are also physical roadblocks, and we're going to kind of go into those and how you as an employee, as a small business owner, as an executive, as a leader in your company, that it will help you to get past those obstacles and to keep striving to make this year the best year, okay? To hit the numbers that you want, or at least come as close as humanly possible to these outrageous goals that you have set for yourself and the team and your business. All it's going to do is increase your profits, right? Or increase your commissions, or increase your salary. So you've got to be able to get past these roadblocks and these obstacles, and we're going to go into that here in a few minutes. So what I drew up here today is, we make our plan, and no matter how awesome our plans are, sometimes something's going to get in the way, right? So the first drawing is A to B, okay? What's the fastest and quickest way to get from A to B? A straight line, right? Well, normally when you've never been to point B, right? You're striving for something that your team's never done, numbers that they've never hit. What happens? What is the normal thing that happens from A to B? You go all over the place. You go backwards sometimes, you go down, you go up, and finally you do get to B. But instead of it being a straight line, which is the fastest and quickest, a lot of times you hit obstacles and you got to deal with issues, right? There's always problems to deal with. And that's where this normal curve comes into play, okay? If you realize this as an executive, as a leader in your company, as a small business owner, or just even an employee that has a commission type or bonus structure that goes along with their payment schedule, with their income, you got to realize this is what you're going to deal with. If you get your mindset into this one instead of this one, it's not all smooth sailing. It's never going to be as fast or as efficient or, as easy as what you think up here. It's going to be more like this. If you can wrap your head around that and just foresee that, you know what, we're going to hit this goal, and have the attitude of, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know. But one thing I do know is I'm going to put all my effort into it. I'm going to gather my resources, my money, my employees' energy, my mindset, my mental strength, my tenacity, my persistence, and we're going to go for it, right? Then anything can happen, and you're going to be in the mindset that, you know what, I knew something was going to happen, but I also have the strength to get around it, to go through it, to step back and say, is this the right path that we want to take? Maybe we need some help. Maybe we need something different. You know what I mean? So that's something that you have to wrap your head around. Just be aware that this is what your map is going to look like from A to B. To hit your goals and to make 2019 the best year ever, the path is going to look like this. Not smooth sailing like this. And if you know this ahead of time, because some people, they dream about, a better life, and, oh, this person, it was so easy for them. I can guarantee it. This is what their path looked like and not this, okay? Think about the professional athlete, right? So we all hold these professional athletes, on the pillar, and we think, oh, they make it look so easy. Look at that crazy catch or that shot or, whatever. They're so fast. What you don't see is the path that they took to get to that result, right? All you see is game day, okay? They're already at the B level, okay? But you didn't see them when they were just first starting out. When they're a teenager and they're on the high school team and maybe they're not so good about this. In college, they were good at certain things, whatever. But they were good enough to go to the professional level, and then they really blossomed. All they were doing was getting great at the fundamentals of whatever sport that they, were getting into. And they make it look easy because they've been doing it for 20, 30 years, right? They've been doing it since they've been walking. You see all of these piano players, these musicians that are just tremendous, and they could write any kind of song. And most of those guys have been playing instruments, learning about music since they were young kids. And all they did was they got certain, a foundation of certain skill sets, and then they built on that. And that's what you need to realize too, is to get to plan B, it's going to look like this, right? And you got to start with where you are, which is always A, okay? I don't care how long you've been doing things, just start where you are. And starting where you are, this is your starting point, is A, okay? And know that you will get to B, but it's going to look weird and crazy. You're not going to know how long it's going to take you. You're not going to know how many resources, how much of the resource, when it's going to happen. You just have to go for it and say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen along the way, but I know I'm going to get through it, right? Time heals all wounds, right? It's the same philosophy here. So I was looking up some statistics on this kind of thing and how people kind of fail to meet their goals, how businesses fail in general. And I saw a study from the U.S. Census Bureau's Business Information Tracking Series, and it showed that 60% of small businesses did not survive 6 years. and it really depends on what industry you're in. So, you got to think of, if you are a small business owner, you own a pizza shop, a restaurant, a dental practice, chiropractic, physician's office, even an insurance company. You are any kind of franchisee kind of thing. You have to deal with everything that the big corporations deal with, but you don't have as many employees, and you don't have the funds that they do to do a lot of the normal business things like advertising, marketing, increasing productivity through more employees, also, keeping up with trends, increasing or improving their equipment or whatever. So there are some setbacks for small business owners compared to large companies, but they got large for a reason. They had a good product or service, and they went with that and kept persisting with their product and service to make it, improve it, and to get it out into as many people's hands as possible. There are certain reasons why people fail to meet their goals, okay? And we're talking business here. And the first one is insufficient capital. Let me write some stuff down here. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about any of the shows that we talk about, drop me a line and we'll talk about it on air. At some point we're going to do live calls, but I need my audience to get a little bigger for that too. And but if you want to shoot me out an email, go to Doc Aldrich, DocAldrich@gmail, and I'll read them and answer them online. So we can start doing that at any point. So drop me some questions today about anything. We talk about business on Wednesdays. We talk about health and oral health on Tuesdays. Thursdays usually basic life habits. So we learn all kinds of stuff. Fridays is kind of whatever day. And Monday's always mommy habits. So if you have a parenting question or anything like that, something with your kid, or hey, Junior's not acting like this, or whatever, drop me a line and we'll talk about it on air and see what everybody else thinks too, because that's what all of this is about, is bringing us together as a community and trying to help each other through life as a business owner, as a mom, as anything. We want to make ourselves better, right? So that's something that we can do together as a community. So these are the reasons that people fail to meet their goals. One, and we're talking business here, okay? Or maybe you're a salesperson and for you to meet your quota. One is they don't have the resources. And by that I mean maybe money to hire enough people, maybe money to do the correct marketing. They don't have enough to put into training, talent, marketing, and maybe even equipment that's needed to compete with the established companies, especially if you're a newer company, right? Or maybe companies that are bigger than you. Number two, they don't have a good plan. We talked about that last week. If you don't overshoot your goal, you're never going to get better, right? Oh, well, we always increase our goals 10% every year. That's just how we do it, or 15%. Well, you know what? Why don't you double it? Go 30. Because what if you hit 20% or 25% or 30% or 80%? If you don't overshoot it, how are you ever going to get any better, right? So you have to have the proper plan in place when you are trying to meet your goals for whatever quarter or month or week or day or whatever that you're setting those goals for, okay? Number three, budget. sometimes companies, and especially as a small business owner, you really have to be careful of budgets because that's your cash flow, right? Some months are better than others. And even in dentistry, like all of a sudden, we're getting into my favorite time of year because I make tons of money this time of year. Everybody has dental insurance and they want to get as much stuff done as possible, right? They may even be retiring at the end of the year and they exactly the same thing. They're going to be losing their insurance and they want to get as much stuff done as possible and be almost more preemptive strike where, hey, something may be on its last leg. I want to, get stuff done before I have an issue, cost me more money and more time. So that's something you got to think of as a small business owner or an executive or some type of leader in the business is, there's a budget for everything and you don't want to overdo it, right? You have to use the resources that you have to get the most bang for everyone's buck, right? Okay. And this also includes, do you have too many employees? Do you have people that aren't being productive, that aren't increasing the bottom line for whatever talents that they have? Maybe it's time to clean house too, because that would also increase the cash flow that the business has to then allocate to a different area of the business that might be more needed. You might need more marketing on a certain thing. You might need more equipment. You might need to hire in a different area that is booming and that needs the help. So that's something that is always a critical area to look at is the budget. 4, and this one take with a grain of salt because we've already talked about this, but unrealistic goals. To me, in my head, it's not necessarily unrealistic, it's too low of goals, right? If you're not overshooting the goal and you're keeping it too low, of course you're going to hit it. Or what if you don't hit that goal, right? There's no motivation there. There's no incentive to do better. Especially if you're on commission or a bonus system, nobody cares if they're going to do any better when they don't get any compensation for it. So make sure that I think you need to be unrealistic with your goals. I think you need to be high, and let's see what we can do. That's what your plan is, right? Number 2, that's what your plan is. Make sure, I think you need to overshoot them. That way, if you don't meet them 100%, you're still ahead of if you didn't overshoot it, okay? And what if you did meet the goal, and you've done something that you've never done, and you're like, holy crap, this is awesome. So I think you need to be unrealistic. Number 5, don't have a sales process in place. Now I think with bigger companies, they always have a sales process in place. But as a small business owner or an executive or even a team leader, sometimes this sales process can get screwed up. Sometimes a certain step in the process is overlooked, underutilized, emphasized, where number 3 of the process is very important. We don't concentrate enough on follow-up, and especially my office, for example, I'm now developing a follow-up program that we're going to be launching here, I would say probably in the next 2 weeks. That we're going to be following up everybody. If you didn't come into my office and you didn't reschedule, you just didn't come, or you didn't set an appointment when there was a problem, we're going to follow your butt. We're going to make sure that nothing bad happens, because then that we care and that we want to take care of it now rather than later, before it A, costs you more money, B, you're in pain, or C, it's even worse and I can't do anything to help, right? So sometimes certain steps in the sales process get lost or get overlooked, or the energy isn't put into it enough for it to make a difference, right? So that can be an issue of why your team, your business is not meeting their goals, is they don't have the right process, and that all of the energy and issues that go along with those steps are actually carried out. Another one is marketing. Bigger companies obviously have budgets for marketing. Smaller business maybe not so much. But what other kind of marketing is there out there? I just started doing social media, and the calls that I'm getting for free cost me zero, okay? All I'm doing is spending a little bit of time making some videos, talking about specials that we have, or whatever about the dental practice. What can you do if you're a real estate broker, right? Maybe you have a team, maybe you don't have a team, maybe you're a solo person, or maybe you're on someone's team. How can you let your community know of houses that you have in your listings, right? Or that you are available if they're ready to sell. Sometimes certain brokers are listing brokers, and sometimes they're into the sales, and sometimes they do both. But how can you get yourself out into the community? It's free. Do an Instagram post, do a video on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Do something that's of value, but also lets people know that you exist, right? So marketing can be not just something that's paid, but it can be something that you use in social media. And the more, I think I've friended maybe 50 people in the last week and a half. These are people that I don't know all over the world. I've got people from Pakistan, the United Kingdom. I haven't hit any Australians yet, so if you guys are in Australia, you better hit me up, right? We've had a lot of people from India. Freaking from India. Like, I don't know anybody from India, right? But that's awesome. My message is getting out there. I'm trying to deliver some content, and it costs me zero, right? Just the internet hookup, which I already have, and everybody else has too, right? Zero. So that's something that you can think about, especially if you're a small business owner. You can market things without a big budget at all. And you can also do Facebook ads, YouTube ads, $5 a day, right? That's less for an entire month. That's less of a cost than it costs to put a small ad in your local newspaper, right? Once a month, okay? And you get a whole month's coverage of whatever message you're trying to get out there, whatever product or service you're trying to get out there, right? So it's cheap. So we've got 6 things now, all right? Hold on, I've got a few more to go here, but I've run out of room. So remember, you've got resources, plan, a budget, which is cash flow. Make your goals unrealistic. Don't have a process. Make sure your sales process is where it should be with all the employees and with you. And marketing doesn't have to be any big deal, right? So those are the first 6 reasons why a lot of people don't hit their goals. Okay. So number 7, and this is more in the mindset of it, lack of motivation. Okay, now this is mostly for your team, okay, for your employees. If you are a team leader, if you are an executive, this is more for people that, you're trying to make the plan, you're in charge of the plan, but now you got to motivate these guys to actually carry out the plan, okay? This is mix up the rewards, mix up the commission base, maybe throw in a trip, maybe throw in, tickets to a concert or, a local sporting event. Everybody loves sporting events, even if the women don't necessarily like it, but their husbands do. It's still incentive because, maybe they have a nice date night. They get a babysitter. They can actually get out for the night. Maybe it's dinner at a local restaurant where they can have a date night, right? So mix up the reward system, not only does money motivate people, but also cool things like theater tickets or concert tickets, or a night out on the town, or dinner or something like that. So we have to get these guys motivated so that they'll carry out the plan and try to hit the goals. Because if everybody's working together and they want the prize, right? They want more money, but they also might, hey, if you're in the top 10%, you get this prize. People are motivated by that. If they weren't, there'd be no game shows. There would be no lottery. All of these contests wouldn't exist if people didn't want something for free, right? Or work for something that they know that they can enjoy a little reward for their effort, right? So think of motivation not as lack of motivation, but as a challenge for you as a business owner or an executive of the business to hit it and hit it hard, right? Number 8, getting burnt out. So maybe your team has been working, really hard. They've met the last 3 months goals, and now everybody's starting to slack off for the end of the year because they're just burnt out. Well, there's a cool saying by Grant Cardone, if you guys follow him. He's the guy that I invest my real estate money with. He said, I can't get burnt out because I'm not a candle. And only candles can get burnt out. That I'm a human being, I'm a spiritual being, and you can't hold me down, right? Well, that's good for him, but, if people lack the motivation, they can feel a little burnt out. Throw some incentive in there. You know what? If we hit this goal, maybe a shorter goal, instead of it being end of the year goal, right? Maybe say, okay, we're going to try hitting this monthly goal. And if you do that, we're going to take off Friday of, whatever week is the last week of that month, okay? You guys get Friday off, and everybody gets it off, and everything's great, right? I know when we decided to revamp my dental practice, throwing money at them didn't really do much, right? I mean, it was nice, it was a nice bonus, but that's not what motivated them. What motivated my team was actually having more time off, and not only mandatory time, but also optional vacation time. And when they start doing that, I can get these guys to do anything because they know they're going to be rewarded by not being at work, okay? And they can do whatever they want with their time. So think of the reward system, right, which goes back to motivation. You need to avoid burnout with your with your team and employees, right? And that's something that you got to come up with together. You need to know what they want. If they say, I want some time, then implement the time off if we hit this smaller goal, right? That's going to motivate them. Hey, or we're going to go on the night of the town. We're going to do a shopping spree. I've done all of this. I've taken them to get their nails done. Mani-pedi, I've done all kinds of stuff. We've gone out. I've paid for drinks. We've done bowling. We've gone to seminars. We've taken small little trips. And it just seems to, avoid the burnout and gives them motivation to keep going. The last thing is too much time spent on administrative tasks. So I'm going to call it red tape. We all have to record what we did. We all have to, if we're doing follow-up, we got to know who do we call, what do we talk about, all that stuff. And that's fine. But is there too many steps to record things getting in the way of, especially if you have a sales team, of getting out there and doing their job? Their job is not doing secretarial work, okay? Their job is to sell your product or service, right? And I know for us, especially in the dental office, if my butt's not in the chair with the drill going, then we're not making any money, right? If my hygienist don't have somebody's patient, doesn't have a patient in a chair, they're not making any money, right? So I try not to bog them down too much. We have notes that we have in the computer that are already pre-done, and then they can just go in and tweak them a little bit, because nobody's 100% the same, as far as what we did and, whatever. But I spent time on my own going in there and making it as simple for everyone, including myself, so that I'm not spending a lot of time on paperwork, right? Most of our stuff is digital, and nowadays most things are digital. You don't have a lot of paper stuff. So contracts, sales proposals, demonstrations even, a lot of times you can watch stuff by video, internet, all of that stuff can help keep your administrative tasks to a certain level, which is as low as possible, right? Because if you're spending your time doing that, you're not spending time selling your product or service, right? So those are some reasons why people are not hitting their targets. Now, so today's whole lesson episode is about roadblocks, okay? We're going to give you 5 steps to get around any roadblock, and I'm going to keep this short because I know I'm going over. So we've got 5 roadblocks. 5 ways to get around roadblocks, okay? One is you need to identify what's your obstacle. Okay? Is it a time constraint? Is it a money issue? Does your team need more help, more employees because they're all bogged down with something? Do you have to hire somebody that takes care of the administrative things so that your sales team can go out and, do what they need to do? If you want different results, you have to actually make a change. So you need to find out, what is this obstacle that's preventing me from getting from A to B, right? And what is it? And then you got to get around it. Second one is, if you've never taken this step, you've never hit this goal before, maybe you need to find a mentor to help you with the process of it, for the steps, what the plan is of what you need to take to hit that goal. Sometimes you do need a mentor to help you, okay? Number 3 is it you? Are you, as the business owner, as the executive or team leader, are you the reason why nobody is hitting their goal? Are you, you don't think that they can do it? You're not giving them all the resources you can to hit the goal. You're keeping things back, okay? I don't know, but you need to make sure that you are not the one that's holding things back. Do you have what they call the shiny new object syndrome? And what that means is, yeah, when you plan all this, everything's great, but then when you start implementing it, you're like, oh crap, this object's, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and you're like, man, this is too hard, and then you don't implement it or enforce it, and you never meet the goal, right? So make sure that it's not you, that the goals that you set, yeah, they can be unrealistic and real far-fetched, and how the heck are we going to do this? But you got to make sure that you are dead set on doing whatever it takes to get those goals. Okay? Number 4. Does this issue require more resources than what you first thought? Most of the time it does, especially if you've never gotten there before. And that's where your mentor can come into place and help you understand what's involved, to know that, remember, A to B looks like this, it's never a straight line. They're going to help you map it out so that you know what resources you have to put back. Maybe now's not the time. Maybe you do need a whole quarter to get ahead of the game, to save the cash flow, and then you start implementing it in 2020. I don't know, but you need to make sure that you know what's required when you set these goals. And the fifth way to get around the roadblock is my favorite. Get creative. Guess what? You gotta get creative. You're always gonna have an obstacle. Something's gonna happen. Someone's not gonna be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Guess what? You gotta get creative. How are you gonna handle things, right? You gotta think out of the box sometimes. Sometimes you might implement something that maybe you haven't done in the sales process. Maybe you didn't think it was important, but now it is. You don't know, but use as much of your creativity, your imagination, the areas, the depths of your memory as you can, and also get your team on board, get your employees to help you. Okay, here's the problem, here's the obstacle. What can we do to get around it? And a lot of times as a team effort, you guys will come up with a solution, then everybody will be on the same track and you'll get around it. So if you're used to this word, chaos. Reason why we never hit our goals is we don't want to get out of our comfort zone, right? If you learn to live in chaos, and I don't mean just complete, nuts, but if you learn to live with uncertainty and you just go with the flow and do whatever it takes to get past each roadblock, I promise you, you will get past it. So the 5 ways to get rid of roadblocks. Number 1, what does the obstacle entail? Is it money, people, mindset, resources? What type of obstacle really is this? You have to identify that in order to get past the obstacle. Number 2 is mentor. Find somebody that can help you, that's already doing what you are doing, hitting the goals that you want to hit, and ask them to help plan your path, okay? So that you can get a straighter line from A to B than this line, right? That's not very straight. So the straighter, the easier it is. Number 3, is it you? Make sure that your mindset is ready to go. No matter what, you've got the persistence and tenacity to hit that goal, or at least come as close as you can, no matter what obstacle comes in your way. Number 4 is require more. Make sure you have the resources available to you, to the employees, so that they can do everything in their power to meet that goal and get around the roadblocks, obstacles that will always come about. And the 5th thing to get rid of the roadblocks or obstacles that are in your way, that you can hit your goal, is to be creative. Use your mental faculties that God has given you, your imagination and your creativity, to think out of the box and to try to get around any obstacle or whatever that that is getting in your way, right? So that's it for me today. I hope everybody's learned something. Don't ever let an obstacle get in your way of fulfilling your duty as an executive or business owner or team leader, and that is to make everybody better, to help provide them with a better life, with more resources, and just to have some fun, right? So that's it for me today. Make sure you grab, while you still can, a free copy of my book, The Habit Formula, by going to thehabitformulabook.com, and please upgrade your order so you can get faster results for the end of 2019. The prices are going to be going up, so I can't emphasize it more. Grab it while it's cheap now, because it's going to be going up, okay? If you guys tune in to iTunes or Spotify, you can catch the podcast. Go to the Lunchtime with the Habit Master, and you can find episodes there. Also, if you love the YouTubers, right, go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. It's under Stephanie Aldrich, the Habit Master. There's tons of videos already there. I keep uploading more and more, and it's not just these episodes from Lunchtime with the Habit Master, but I have all kinds of other things talking about the 3 principles of success. Mindset especially. If you do that, that's 2/3 of the issue to getting and living the life you want. But also action and planning, right? So make sure you go to YouTube. I only have 6 subscribers so far. I have tons more people on Facebook than I do on YouTube, and I don't know, I'm more of a YouTube person than I am Facebook. But at some point we're going to be doing live feeds from YouTube too, but I got to get another phone for that. So anyway, that's it. I hope you guys have a great day, and remember, let's build good habits together.